Back in 2021, when Netflix announced that they would be coming out with a sequel to that 70s show, respectfully titled That 90s Show, many fans did not know how to react. On one hand, it seemed like writers were losing steam and trying to revive hit shows in some form or fashion. Just take a look at what happened with Girl Meets World, Will and Grace, Fuller House, and Saved by the Bell. But on the other hand, seeing how Eric, Donna, Red, Kitty, and everyone else turned out 15 years later seemed like a real treat. When the first season of That 90s Show dropped on Netflix, new fans, old fans, and people who just really like sitcoms rushed to see what all the fuss was about. The trailer had highlighted that many of the original cast would be reprising their roles, but sadly, it became very clear that the revival would be more about Eric and Donna's daughter, Leah Foreman, and her new group of friends more than it would be about what the now grown-ups had been up to all this time. This twist made some viewers angry enough that they did not even bother watching the whole season, but some people thought it was sweet to see the youngest Foreman find a group of friends and essentially relive her mom and dad's teenage years. With the second season now out on Netflix, let's take a look at what fans of That 70s Show actually think of That 90s Show. For 8 seasons, fans managed to fall in love with Eric and Donna, Topher Grace and Laura Prepon, laugh with Kelso, Ashton Kutcher, get annoyed with Jackie, Mila Kunis, and question what Fez, Wilmer Valderrama, was talking about. So when it came time for the sequel, plenty of people were eager to see the old gang get together. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Eric and Donna pop in to drop off Leah, Callie Haverda, in the very first episode, and Donna only returns a couple of times to help her daughter. Jackie and Kelso stop by the Foremans for a brief moment before heading out to get remarried for the second time, but then they never come back. Fez, however, does manage to stick as a recurring character for the first season, but that is only because he is sleeping with a neighbor. In all, every original cast member's time on screen was cut way too short, that is, everyone but Red and Kitty, Kentwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp. Red and Kitty Foreman really make an impact. Because Leah is staying with her grandparents over the summer, it makes sense that Kitty and Red would get quite a bit of screen time. Red thought he would be done with teenage shenanigans once all of Eric's friends finally decided to do things with their lives and vacate his basement. However, he was wrong. Red and Kitty have to put up with Leah and all of her quirky friends during the summer. Kitty sees it as a chance to be the hip and cool grandma, but Red really just wants to be left alone. Their quick remarks and funny banter are what really brings the whole show together, and fans of the original series are very grateful for their presence. The new cast is full of exaggerated stereotypes. While it is not unusual for a sitcom about the 90s to utilize traditional stereotypes, the ones within That 90s Show are horribly exaggerated. Fans know that Leah is going to be an awkward teenager just because she is Eric's daughter, but that certainly does not mean she needs to make a fool of herself in nearly every episode. Then comes the dumb jock dating the smart girl cliché with Nate and Nikki, Maxwell Assey Donovan and Sam Morelos. Leah's best friend, Gwen, Ashley after Hyde, is seen as the punk rock chick who refuses to be considered ordinary, and Leah's love interest, Jay Kelso, Mace Coronel, is sadly reduced to the standard dumb jock stereotype. Lastly, to round out the group, Ozzy, Rain Doy, is a cynical freshly out of the closet teen who always has an inappropriate or snarky joke up his sleeve. The new cast is trying to be the old cast. Do these stereotypes and characters seem a bit too familiar? It's almost as if they were copied and pasted from That 70s Show. Leah and her father are practically one human. Nate and Nikki resemble Kelso and Jackie just a bit too much, but Nikki has a much smaller role than the loudmouth prima donna. Gwen is the no-nonsense friend who brings Leah out of her shell, much like Hyde, Danny Masterson, did for Eric. Ozzy is the friend whose background is a bit of a mystery, like a certain foreign friend of Eric's. Fans of That 70s Show immediately noticed the similarities, and while some were not too bothered by them, Many critics thought the newer cast members were struggling to find their own groove and fill some rather large shoes. Speaking of filling big shoes, one of the biggest complaints on the internet about that 90s show seems to be that it is trying too hard to be like its predecessor. Between the character comparisons and the overall idea that viewers are watching a nostalgic series about simpler times, it just doesn't have the same authentic feel as that 70s show. If it were not for the fact that it was a sequel to a very successful sitcom, many critics think it would not have had much success in this day and age. Think about it. What would happen if Red, Kitty, and everyone else from that 70s show was not a part of that 90s show? What if that 70s show didn't exist, and that 90s show was based on completely new and original content? Would it actually make a lasting impression on viewers who seem to prefer thought-provoking dramas to silly nostalgic sitcoms? Many viewers think it would not. The show is wholesome and cute because it is a coming-of-age story with some quirky characters, but if it were not for the original cast coming back, even in short scenes, then many people simply would have clicked right past it. With the second part of Season 2 set to come out on October 24, 2024, plenty of viewers are wondering if a Season 3 will be in the works. For now, we will just have to simply wait and see.